They said that we were trash. Well, the name is Crass, not Clash. They can stuff their punk credentials, it's them that take the cash. They won't change nothing in fashionable talk. RAR badges in their protest wall. Thousands of white men standing in a park, objecting to racism, decaying in the dark. Black man's got his problems, his way to deal with it. So don't fool yourself up with your white liberal shit. If you care to take a close look at the way things really stand, you'll see we're all just niggas to the rulers of this land.
A typical Crass gig would be a big hall with banners everywhere, very dark, a lot of people milling around, drunk punks collapsed at the back, a few skinheads trying to cause trouble, a real air of atmosphere of tension, always on the lookout for trouble starting. Probably a rumour going around that there were 500 National Front skinheads coming to beat the shit out of us, so just waiting for the doors to burst open. And then getting on stage and being spat on and sometimes things thrown at you, but just like real sort of tension.
Not for me, matching fast, sweeping up from natural fast. Not for me, so that rights, just a running any gas. People ask me what I do, such a them, what will you? Human function, that's not me, a reason, that's a society. Standing on, I'm jumping on it, but I'm coming shit about anything. Like a fly, silly moves, all they are singing fools. You give us conscious money.
I think what Crass was trying to do, but it had to do it in an orderly way, was to say that it is possible. You know, it's possible to exist outside of the framework. G and myself have really fought hard to sort of understand what it means, rather than just sort of falling into sort of conventional ways of dealing with it. We've maintained the open door policy, we've maintained, you know, trying to expand and extend that and incorporate anyone in the same way as Crass incorporated anyone. Against a society which actually has been increasingly closing its doors. You know, I think that, you know, from the 70s, which was really our sort of era in a way, you know, the sort of liberationist era, you know, the fight's got harder and harder and harder.
Fuck the military money, it's something I want to say about the state of the nation, the way you treat us today. At school they give you shit, drop you in a bin. You try to get out, but you can't become the facts about. Then you're a prime example, and then they mustn't be. This is just a sample, it's up to you and me. Do they owe us a living? Of course they do, of course they do. Oh, us a living. Of course they do, of course they do. Oh, us a living. Of course they fucking do.
Do you want me to do it? Or
No, I'm happy for that.
Alright, you're up for it. What was he playing in then?
You coming in? It might be an idea to see. Oh no, are we going to have the big fire tonight?
That's where the permitting.
Yeah, I think to start.
It's not big enough for it, can't draw, is it?
So did anyone come up with any sort of interesting, or does anyone want to ask anything about the house or how it's run or what you've seen or not seen or anything? Or?
I'm quite interested in the Crass agenda and how that's evolved. I was speaking to Ron earlier about it and wanting to find out about it.
When I opened the doors up here, which was 40 years ago, whatever it was very much with the idea of being a creative centre. I mean, we were always organic because it's more sensible and it's cheaper, but always the prime reason for us being here, and most of the people who've remained as residents here have been artists or writers or filmmakers or musicians. And then in our spare time, effectively, we tend the garden and do all that stuff. And we've done masses of projects, you know, and Crass was the only project that ever became sort of renowned. It was a punk band, very, very political, very much I mean, our major statement was there is no authority but yourself, You know, in other words, life's your responsibility. On the one hand, we're sort of viciously opposed to what then wasn't known as globalisation, but we defined as just being rampant capitalism. So on the one hand we had a very political agenda, but on the other hand we had a very DIY agenda of basically, well, get a life, sort yourself out, you know. On the one hand to oppose the material world on every front, and at the same time, you know, offer practical ways of doing it. So on the one hand we'd be sort of, you know, giving out handouts on how to make petrol bombs or something like that, you know, and at the same time how to make your own bread.
They ask me why I'm hateful, why I'm bad. They tell me I've got things they never read. They tell me go to church and see the light, 'cause the good Lord's always right. So what? So what? So what if Jesus died on the cross? So what about the fucker? I don't give a toss. So what if the master walked on the water? Don't see it, try to stop the slaughter. Say I wouldn't have to live from bins if I would go and look confess my sins. Say I shouldn't commit no crime, 'cause Jesus Christ is watching all the time. So what? So what? So what if he's always over my shoulder? Realise the truth as I get older. Get to see what a connie is, because it's my life, my notice. But I say they're gonna send me away. Say they're gonna make me pay.
Yeah, I know. You be good. You stay. You stay. Yeah, I know. You stay. I won't be long. I'd heard about punk rock, but I hadn't seen it or anything. And then I came out of work one day and I noticed a poster for a band called The Clash that were playing at the Colston Hall. So I just went along to see what it was about, and I was just knocked out by it. That for the first time in my life there were a bunch of working class blokes, young men, looking absolutely really frightening, saying the sort of things that I'd always wanted to say, that previously I'd sort of got into David Bowie and things like this and sort of liked it, but it was never that. It was always that superstar thing, and now on the stage with these working class guys coming from the same background I had, saying exactly the things I wanted to say, and I was like, and then when Joe Strummer at the end of it said, if you think you can do better, start your own fucking band, and I was like, that's what yeah, I want to do that. So I went to visit Penny Rambo at Dale House. He was living there on his own at the time, and he said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm going to start a band. And he said, I'll play drums for you if you like. So then I said, well, what about other members? And he said, no, let's just have drums and vocals. And that's how it started.
I was writing a lot, and then one day Steve turned up. I'd been listening to Patti Smith and some of that sort of stuff. I'd got an old drum kit, and we just started mucking about. As we went on mucking about, other people would turn up and they wanted to muck about as well, and really that's how it was. I mean, we certainly didn't take ourselves seriously, and we certainly didn't expect anyone else to take us seriously. We had no ambition to, well, I had no ambition, Steve might have done, but I certainly had no ambition to do anything, you know, within a sort of consensual, within the construct.
What exactly did you want to say?
Fuck off, you bastards, I hate you, I want more money, why do I have to work, stop telling me what to do, all coppers are bastards, you know. What does a young man